video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the JND445 Tempus Fugit die to make a working clock. And this is a demonstration I've been asked for by a lot of people to actually make. So I'm going to show you the sort of pretty one that I've made originally, which is here, which is a fully working clock. So you can see the time that I'm actually recording this is nearly 20 past 11. So this is a fully working clock and is right to the time. And I wanted to show you how to make one. So I'm going to make a very simple male version using the die. So to do this, first things we're going to need is an 8-inch box frame. This is one from Hobbycraft that I've got, but this is a deep box frame with a simple back. So really simple and easy to do, but you're going to need this to start with. So I've already taken all of the bits and the back off it, and I'm going to start showing you with the parts that I need. So here I've made a piece already, and this is using a piece of black card cut to 8 1/4 inches by 8 1/4 inches. And I have cut the outside frame and the circle from black. I've then cut on the same size, roughly, piece of white card, just the circle frame from white, and I've spray glued those together to give me the actual outside frame of the clock. And this is what we're going to start with. So I'm going to take my box frame. I'm going to remove the little bridge piece. I'm also going to remove the glass, as I don't want it behind glass, and you can use that with your alcohol inks for another project. And then I'm simply going to take power tape. You want to use, I would strongly recommend power tape as opposed to any other tape, as it is the strongest on the market. And this is the 6mm power tape. And all I'm going to do is to place this against this ledge. So I'm just sticking it down to the ledge. It's really important that this is really, really well stuck. So we're just going to pop all 4 layers in, nice and simply, going all the way around. It doesn't have to be wonderfully neat or look fantastic, because this is in the inside of the frame, hiding all of the mechanism. Doesn't matter what it looks like from the back or what it looks like inside, it's what it looks like on the outside that's important. So I'm just going around all 4 sides and popping the power tape in, just like this. There we go. Probably should have had this pre-prepped for you, but I think it's worth seeing just how it's done. So there we go. So my power tape is now in on all 4 pieces. And I simply then remove the barrier piece so that this is then revealing all of the sticky. Nice and simple. We then take our panel and we just fit that in nice and evenly, let it drop in. We turn that round so that there we have our clock mechanism, or we have our clock face. So the next thing we need to do with this is to pop in our actual clock face. And to do this, I'm going to be using 5mm deep foam tape. If you don't have a really deep foam tape like this, then I would suggest that you use your 2mm or your 3mm and just double it up. And all I'm going to do is go around this aperture, and it's easier to do this in situ than to actually try and make it together first, as you'll find that it won't go into the box frame properly. So we're working all the time in the box frame. So I'm putting this 5mm tape round, and again, it doesn't have to be neat. And then I'm going to take the next piece. Now what I've done with this is I've cut a piece of card to roughly about 7.5 inches square, so that I've got plenty of space, and I've simply cut into it the clock section of the die, making sure XII is at the top. It's really important, as that's your 12 and that's your top. I've then taken this little circle die that comes in the set and punched that out of the middle. This is to give us space for our mechanism. So what we want to do now is to place this into place on our clock. So I'm going to remove all of the bits of foam tape so that I've got the adhesive showing. Then I'm going to take some of the Craft Artist Super Tacky glue and put 3 little dots on each of the foam tape. This will give me time to manoeuvre this clock face. So I can take that, I can take the 12, I can look through, make sure I'm happy, turn it over, and as you can see, I can then move that around until it's nice and even. Once I'm happy that it's even, turn it back over and press down. If you don't do the glue, this will not work because you will put it in the wrong place. So you can see now, there I have my clock face. The next thing I need to do here is to add in my back panel. And what I've done here is I've taken the John Next Door Argyle embossing folder and I've embossed this into a piece of black card or a piece of black vellum. On this occasion, I've used black vellum and I'm going to use just normal 3mm foam tape, but I'm actually going to put it onto the piece that's embossed, and that way again I make sure it goes in the right place and it's stuck in the right place. So we're simply going to cut that out. And there we go. And again, I didn't want to disrupt the embossing, so you could cut the circle out from the center first. As this is the back, what I'm actually going to do is just take a pair of scissors, push them through, and I just need to cut myself an aperture in this, roughly in the center. And again, every layer needs to have this hole through. There we go. So again, I'm going to take now my clock, reveal my adhesive, just like this, and I'm going to pop that on, which then gives you the back panel, which I love this. So I've taken a piece of black vellum, I've embossed it with the Argyle folder, and I've rubbed a little bit of the Craft Artist Fusion Pearl white, ice white ink over the back. Again, just so it stands out but isn't too obvious. So the next thing that we need to do onto here is to place our mechanism in. So you will receive your mechanism. I've bought mine from Amazon. So you get a simple mechanism just like this. You can buy them from all sorts of different places. And I've got hands in here, which I thought these ones quite fancy worked. The second hand, and I have a little bolt and a little washer. So nice and simple. So first things first, again, taking some of my foam tape for strength. You can use power tape if you don't want to increase the depth anymore. I'm just going to pop a little bit of foam tape all around here. Nice and simple. And then we're going to take off and reveal our adhesive, and you'll find a decent foam tape will work for this. Making sure that your frame is square on. Take your unit and you'll see which is the bottom, and we place that nice and square on, turn it over and make sure that it's nice and central, just like that, and that's adhered. So you can see there, nice and simple. And again, if you wanted to, once you've finished, you can pop your back in. You may find it's a little bit deep, but we'll do that at the end. So I'm now going to turn this back over and add the next pieces. So I have my sort of spindle coming through. So I have the next die in the set, which is the circle and the dotted lines, cut in white and black and backed with black. And again, I'm going to use foam tape just to make sure that I have a nice level and I keep that sort of dimension going. So reveal the foam tape, and this will cover over. And this is one of the reasons why the circle die is made larger. So we'll bring that in. So now I get to place that exactly in the center. And can you see here, I show you, that circle is not exactly in the same place, doesn't matter. That's the point we need to keep clear. So that's all we need to do. So I'm going to take the next piece, which again is cut in white, which is the smaller die from the set, like a compass with the circle. Again, it's been cut. And again, I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape onto the back of here, just to make sure that it stays in place and we keep that dimension working all the time. And here we go. Nice and simple. And again, follow the design, making sure you're pointing at the right place. So 12 is at the top, so let's get it right, John. There we go. You can see again, it doesn't quite fit that circle, but it will actually all work. Now, we simply take our hands, and you can see here is my minute hand, which will click on nice, sorry. I need to take my washer first. Take my washer, take my nut, and screw that down. This is to make sure it's in the right place. We then simply take our hour hand, and I always set this to midnight, and we click it on. I'm then going to take the minute hand, and that clicks onto a different piece. There we go. I then take my second hand, and that goes right into the center. Just straighten that one out and make sure that connects in with the spindle. It's actually easier than it looks, but when you're doing it on a video, it's not. Make sure that the hands don't touch each other. So I need to just move this second hand up and move that minute hand down slightly, just like that. And then finally I take the piece that was cut from the center of this section here, and I'm just going to glue this on. And because I'm gluing to metal, I'm going to use glue glaze, as that's the quickest and the best light glue to glue card onto metal. And I'm going to put that into place nice and even as well, which will just cover all of those workings. I can then simply turn that over, take the battery and pop the battery in. So we'll just take that, carefully slide the battery in. There we go. And I'll make sure our second hand again is loose. Our minute hand is going down and our hour hand is going down. You can see there that that's working absolutely perfectly. And I can actually set the time. So looking at my clock, it is now just gone 11:30. So nice and easy. We've got that set. Let it run for a minute to make sure that the hands don't cross. I've got a feeling here that the second hand is going to hit that minute hand, which it is, which stops it working. So we just need to make sure that we've bent that minute hand down slightly. There we go. So that it doesn't cross. And there is our working clock. I'm just going to turn that over quickly, and I'm going to add the back on. You don't have to. You may find it comes a little bit too far. So I'm just going to secure it with a couple of pieces. I actually leave mine without a back, to be fair. I leave all of my clocks that I've made like this without a back, as I don't like that extra pressure. But again, if you're wanting to gift it, you can do that. And then we can again just check to make sure it's fully working. So there is our working Tempus Fugit clock. And I've got a few little flowers here that I can use to decorate it if I want to, but you must make sure that these do not hit the second hand or the minute hand. You may need to actually cut that down. So I do have a tendency to just take a little bit of that off, just so that it's not as long. It can be cut to whatever size you want to. Let's just take that piece out. There we go. And then I can decorate with the flowers, and we're finished with a beautiful working clock using the John Next Door Tempus Fugit die set. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John Next Door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.